Well, you know, what about managing the play? You've both mentioned how important it is to be a man manager. What about the power that players now have? You polished boots when you first started out.
Yeah.
I don't think Raheem Sterling, when he hit, you know, the Liverpool squad, was really doing that either. Now you have the big clubs with a vast amount of players who now drive fast cars and have big houses and already on big contracts. Nets, losses, and players now going for over £200 million, give or take. I mean, it's crazy money we're talking about.
There's a lot of money involved in the game. But you talk about the youngsters, and the argument is, do they get too much too young? One of my personal opinions is they brought the under-23 league in instead of the reserves. And the under-23s, for me, gives young players a false sense of security that they're going to be Premier League footballers. If you're playing in the under-23s at 21, 22, and you've not been involved with the first team, you're not training with the first team, to an extent you haven't made your first team debut, then I think you've missed the boat. It's a false sense of security. I was at Burnley last year, and you see players playing in the under-23s because Burnley have to have an under-23s for their academy status. So they need, it's the same with every club, they need to fulfil a squad of players at every level, and they'll have players in their under-23s that are 20, 21, that are never going to be good enough for the first team. But it's a false sense of security, and they're walking around as though they've made it as a Premier League footballer because they're playing at the under-23 level.
There's youngsters, and there was a youngster at Liverpool fairly recently. A 16-year-old signs for Liverpool, and he has to, because there's a few clubs interested in this youngster, which I don't want to name. He's on £20,000 per week at the age of 16 on a 4-year contract.
That's what, 100,000 ringgit, give or take, a week.
A week.
I was on £37 a week then, at 16.
Well, that's my point. Would it be harder to manage because of the amount of money that's
and yet he's no longer there now, and this was only recently. So he was on £20,000 a week. So £80,000 per month going into his bank account at the age of 16 on a 4-year contract. Work that one out. He's a millionaire before he's even kicked the ball. He hasn't even learnt his trade, but yet he's a millionaire footballer, and he's no longer at Liverpool. He's another club which I'm not going to name. But that's par for the course now. That's a youngster at a top Premier League club. He's a millionaire before he's even made his debut.
That goes back to my original question, doesn't it? I mean, when you've got players now who have a lot of money at such a young age before even turning professional, and you set out to manage them, as opposed to having young, hungry players who are earning £37 a week, who are looking to prove themselves, who don't have the money, surely it'd be harder for a manager. Now,
yes, it's difficult, managers, but because the power's in the players.
Well, again, my question against you, is it harder now to manage?
Well, only because it's not harder if you do it the right way, I suppose. But it's harder because of the pressures, maybe, and because of the monies. Because players don't get sacked, managers get sacked, players don't, and the power's all with the players. If you've got a board of directors who strongly back the manager, then the manager then has power. Ferguson, Sir Alex was the prime example. He had power. He says Arsene Wenger's got power because the board trust him. The board won't sack him. So he then transfers that to the players. So if you don't listen to what I'm saying, you don't do what I'm doing, or I tell you to do, then you're sacked, or we're releasing you, not the manager.
Yeah.
So you've got to have the full support of your board members and the owner of that football club.